What's up, everybody? Look like crap and feel like crap, but I wanted to make this video. I thought about this long and hard for a long time, and I need to tell my story. I don't I don't even know where I'm going to put this out to. I just need to tell my story so I can prevent somebody else from doing this. And I also want to tell you what exactly happened to me. Just teach you 1 minute about the side effects of these antibiotics and what they are so you never take them. And then I'm going to ask you for help. Please, please, please stick around. So hopefully you're interested in my story. If not, don't watch, that's fine. But whoever does help, whoever can help me, let's do this, So anyway, first of all, I took two medications back in early 2010. I took a medication called ciprofloxacin and Lavaquin. Back in 2010, I didn't know when I first took it. The symptoms actually came on about 5 months after I took it. At first they were coming and going, so like first I started getting a lot of sinus infections, which is why I think I took it, but I can't get my medical records, so I'm almost positive that's why I took it. I don't know why they put me on both at the same time. Both are an antibiotic called fluoroquinolones, and in a second here I'm going to show you guys the scariest thing. Like I said, hopefully not get too emotional, but it's been a roller coaster, especially the last few days. So anyway, I took these two medications. That what they do and how they react is Lavaquin was actually proposed as a chemotherapy drug. It eats away bad bacteria in your cells. So what happens is it's supposed to clear your system. And I'm not a scientist. I'm just what I read from the research papers and the hundreds now of people. I mean, I've been connected with thousands of people all over the world, not just the United States, but the world, that have been floxed. That's what it's called. It's called being floxed. Anyway, I've communicated with a bunch of people, and it's crazy because now I finally know why I was sick all these years. But now, because I did it again, things have gotten horrible. So but yeah, so anyway, what the drugs, and if I forget during this video or I'm all over the place, is because it literally eats at the brain barrier, so I've been forgetting things like mid-sentence of what I'm saying. So hopefully I'll get through this. But so it eats at your brain barrier, it eats at your cells, the bad bacteria, and at your mitochondria DNA. So it affects the central nervous system, and it's supposed to wash out of your system. The problem is because the fluoride that they put in there, and scientists expect, but even some of the other part of the drug does not wipe out of your system. Instead, it gets into your blood, into your DNA, and then it eats away at your cells. So basically, like for my tendons, why I can't walk, my physical therapist explained it's like a rubber band. It stretches this much, if you guys can see all this. But because mine, the cipro had the rubber band of the tendon from here down to here. It disintegrated my tendons. So it's only going this much, and if I go above that, I'm going to rupture my tendon. And so I have to find a medium of taking steps so I don't, have chronic permanent damage, because they're talking about putting 2 nerve blocks in my feet now, which I don't know. My feet are turning purple, and I keep trying to bend my toes and stand up and move, but nothing's working. But anyway, I just want to go over these papers with you, and this is not going to be a short video, but I pray to God that you can stick with me through this, and I'll try to go through this stuff quick and then get to my story. Here is the packet that comes with. I don't know if you guys can see how thick this is. It is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages front and back. Of just side effects, right? I mean, how crazy is that? And I've been on, I don't know, anybody that's been in my house has seen my medicine cabinet. I've been on hundreds and hundreds of medications, and throughout the 9 years, and see, I forget. But I always check the side effects if it's like a major drug, like if I've been on Lyrica, or all these different migraine, anti-seizure medications and stuff, and I checked those. But this was an antibiotic, and I didn't think anything of it, and which sucks, because when I went to the Mayo Clinic in 2017, right before I went, and I was going to see a neurologist, I had seen a commercial for Lavaquin, and I had circled it because I saw that I had taken it in the beginning of 2010. I circled it on my paper. I brought it into the neurologist, and I freaking asked him if this could be causing all of the pain, which I'll get into in a minute. But he's like, no, it's just an antibiotic. This has been around for years. It's one of the most prescribed antibiotics. Like 37 million people take it. Well, yeah, this. He didn't even know about it. Mayo Clinic doctor. The first thing on the very first page, which I'll show you guys here, it says, and I'm just going to read this one sentence. This drug, or this one paragraph, this drug may cause very bad side effects. These include irritated or torn tendons, nerve problems in arms, hands, legs, or feet, nervous system problems. These side effects can happen alone or at the same time. They can happen within hours to weeks after starting this drug. Some of these side effects may not go away and may lead to disability or death. Talk to your doctor. And says, as soon as you feel something, talk to your doctor right away and stop the medication. Well, that's what I did, and never thought a medication would. I figured if I did have a side effect to it, upset stomach, anything else that anybody that's taken antibiotics know, the other risks that you could get, but never did I think this. This is crazy. Nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, pain and tenderness, liver damage, dark colored urine. That's just some of those on this page. But here's the ones that really scare me, right? Here's from nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Yeah, those are the ones which I thought. Here's the one here. You guys can see this. Central nervous system effects, seizures, you hear voices, you see things, hallucinations, you feel restless, tremors, which, man, I've had so many tremors. You feel anxious or nervous, confusion, depression, trouble sleeping, nightmares, feel lightheaded or dizzy, feel more suspicious, suicidal thoughts, headaches that will not go away. There's another one. Inability to walk. It literally says inability to walk. I went into the doctors for a urinary tract infection. In 2016, the FDA said to not prescribe fluoroquinolone antibiotics for uncomplicated measures. So, unless it was basically like you were in a hospital, you should not prescribe this. My doctor knew nothing. My pharmacist told me nothing. In 2010, I was good. I was an athlete. I owned my own business coaching. I played basketball all the time. I remember after I took it, things started coming and going at first. So my symptoms were pain right here in my eyes, right? So right around here, my eyes would get real dry. When I started watching TV, I remember having to put on sunglasses sometimes because I thought it was the light that was hurting my eyes. And then other things came, like I was getting pain from here in my forearm up into my hand, like a burning pain. Those were the two main symptoms, and then sinus infections. Those were the main symptoms for the first couple years. Then I realized I was getting worse and worse. For the next 4 years, I had double hernia surgery in 2012. I had a torn rotator in my shoulder, partial tear. So it was like I could have had surgery or could have didn't. But I knew because of the other two surgeries, I had sinus surgery, and both the other ones I reacted horrible. Like I remember after sinus surgery, I woke up and there was a pool of blood everywhere, and I had to go to emergency room 2 days in a row. When I had the double hernia surgery, I couldn't walk afterwards for 6 months. And they never knew what was happening. I never knew. I always thought I just had inflammation problems. But it was weird that I went from like perfectly healthy to this. As time went on, I started getting real weak. Like I would be unable to lift a lot of weights. I remember my favorite thing ever was to always play basketball. And I remember the last couple of basketball leagues I did, my eyes were getting worse and worse and worse. And I went to the games, and there would be times where I had just thrown up before because of the nauseousness that this causes from not being able to focus on anything. Then my muscles got really weak where I could barely run up and down the court. I could barely jump. I remember like not having any legs when I would shoot a jump shot. And just like the last 2 years, I did this, and same with softball. And I could feel everything changing and it wasn't like, okay, you're just getting older. I understand that. But I was 27, 28, 29 years old. And I felt like my friends would joke with everybody. They would make fun of me, joke with me, but it's real. Like, but I think because you couldn't physically see it, right? So I would go home, and I remember I would spend 2 hours a night icing just to make it through the day. I remember going to hand therapy. I got injections into my wrist, big old needle, to both wrists. I went to hand therapy for 6 months. Nothing worked. I even wore these, which I pulled out yesterday, these wrist guards to sleep in. This was my old wrist guard. I couldn't play poker, which, if you know me, I love playing poker. I couldn't shuffle a deck or sit down long enough, because then the burning and tingling started coming in my spine. And over the years, the burning and tingling in my spine has actually increased. The eyes have gotten worse. Just day after day, it's gotten worse. We're to the point where I can't go grocery shopping. Having conversations with people, like I can't even look at them because my eyes hurt so bad. And then my eyes will water once in a while, and it's like acids in them, and I can't see. And I remember I used to go see double-header movies, right? Like sneaking into the movie theater. And at first I was like, oh, maybe God's punishing me for seeing two movies at once. And it was like within a year, I couldn't even go to the movies anymore because I was getting such bad headaches. And now it's like I can't even watch so I'm kind of looking away from the screen right now. I can't even look at the screen because it gives me such bad pain anytime I focus. Nauseousness, pain behind the eyes, dry eyes, headaches, migraines. It's awful. Words don't explain it. Words can't explain it. The pain in my wrist, though, and hands in about 2017 started to finally let up. It was a good, 5.5, 6 year battle of every day. Like I couldn't hold things, I couldn't do anything, and every day there was pain there. And then, I don't know, it just started easing up and easing up and easing up. And I don't know if it was I was eating better, but I mean, like now I'm eating better and the pain is worse than ever, and I'm eating better than ever. I don't know. Maybe it's just time. Probably just time. And in December of 2018, this is what's crazy. After the hundreds of medications I took, the last one I was on was Lyrica for the last 5 years because they had diagnosed me with fibromyalgia, and which I realize now, I think a lot of people just have fluoroquinolone toxicity because at some point in their life they were probably put on these antibiotics and they don't even know it. Which I still think people have fibro. I'm not owning fibromyalgia, but just in my own case, I can't remember. I don't remember what I was just saying. It's just crazy. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. So, but anyway, hold on. Okay, I had to pause it because it was frustrating. I remember I was talking about my wrist, the hand. In 2018, I was off all medications, and I was finally, besides the headaches and the pain there, which even those were feeling a little bit better. I was feeling as best I have in years. I was working out 4 days a week. I put a gym basically in my basement, just like real light weights. I knew I couldn't lift heavy weights because I was going to tear something. I found that out when I tore my shoulder. And then I didn't even realize when I was looking back in tests that I had a partial tear in my bicep as well. But throughout the years, I knew because I had 5 bulging discs in my back. Just chronic pain every day. I mean, I went from, in a 4-year span, I went from perfectly healthy to 2 surgeries, probably should have had 3, 5 bulging discs, unable to play sports, unable to watch movies, and like my life was just falling apart. I mean, it's just extremely hard. And you know, I've been that person that, like, when I was 10, my mom collapsed on the floor in front of me for the first time. And she had COPD, it's a smoking disorder. And from then on, it was like I basically took a lot of care of her. You know, I looked out for her, and don't get me wrong, she was the greatest mom in the world, and she did so much for me. But like, I remember anywhere we went, I'd carry her oxygen tank. I walked her upstairs to bed every night, and you know, and so when I was 12 and 13, my grandma moved in with me from Michigan, and she had colon cancer. And I remember getting off my bus for school, and every day I would take her to chemo or take her to a chiropractor or come home and kind of just hang out with her. And my life was always, you know, now I'm a single dad, and I try to do a lot for others, what I can, even dealing with these health issues. And I've never needed help. I've never, you know, at 19, I moved out on my own, started 5-star, and now I can't walk from my couch to the kitchen. Now I can't bend down on the floor and grab, you know, something that I drop. Or most nights I sleep on my couch because I can't make it to my room. So, sorry, I knew I didn't want to get emotional. But yeah, so anyway, in May 2018, I ended up taking ciprofloxacin for UTI. Well, this is how bad my doctor is. First, I went in there, saw the doctor, physician assistant, who told me that at first it was an STD, and I was like, no, it can't be. But she told me, well, let's just check just in case. And she did, and she, in the office, gave me an injection, an antibiotic, and a different antibiotic, an STD antibiotic, to treat it. And after a week of the UTI symptoms, or whatever it was, hurting still, I went in and saw my real doctor, Dr. Olinger, who told me, oh, you're on the wrong antibiotic, that's why it's not working, you need to be on cipro, or you need to be on this. And he prescribed me cipro. So I took that for 14 days. I ended the 14-day course, and then usually it's a multitude of courses, because he said I had prostatitis, which is a inflamed prostate. So he said it could take up to like 5 weeks to fully get rid of it. So after the first 14 days, I called him and said, okay, I'm done. I'm still having some pain. And he's like, all right, we'll get you right on more. And never knew any of the symptoms or any side effects. And I remember I took it, and I don't know, I can't remember, because I started it right after, and I don't remember. I write in my son's journal. I had started a journal for him. Every night I was writing in there, and I remember the pain kept getting worse and worse, and my hands and wrists were hurting so bad. And I'm like, well, it's just a fibro flare. It's fine. Just get through it. And then I couldn't. So I ordered like jumbo pens that you hold from Amazon. And I couldn't hold the pen, and the wrists were burning so badly. So finally I said, all right, like what's going on? And I remember trying to take Tyler to Great America, and we parked and we walked up to the front, and I said, son, like my Achilles tendons hurt so badly. I don't know if I can do this. And we walked back to the car, made it home, and the next day I woke up and I was in so much pain. I drove somehow to the doctor's, even though I probably shouldn't have. I could barely walk. My dad met me at Walmart pharmacy to pick up something that they had prescribed me. I forget, which I didn't end up taking because I did my own research. But yeah, I made it home, and then the next day I woke up and I couldn't stand. And it happened that quickly. And I had been off of it from the day that my wrist hurt really bad. So the day that I went to Great America was I didn't take it that morning, so the night before. And because I had looked online and I saw like the horror stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I stopped it thinking, okay, that'll be okay. And if you can, Google cipro toxicity. It's scary. They're the third most prescribed, or third or fourth most prescribed antibiotic in the world. I think it was like 37 million prescriptions. Bayer made over, $47 billion in 2017. They also made, Roundup and other things and this was actually given to a lot of soldiers that ended up committing suicide because it was giving it as a preventative when they went overseas. And a lot of soldiers, more than we know, I'm sure, have committed suicide because of this drug, because it affects the brain barrier. I can't tell you the amount of nightmares, the amount of thoughts, the amount of things that go through your mind that you have to fight off to try to get through this. It's insane. So, but anyway, yeah, so I've been in a wheelchair since June 4th is the last day I could walk. June 5th, I got the wheelchair. I've been taking vitamins. No pain meds. I have said no to all pain meds because all the studies, they try to put me on steroids, and everyone's like, who's your doctor? I want to talk to them because steroids make it worse. I've done so much research. I can't explain how much research I've done. I've talked to so many people, and this is what I need your help for, because when I stand up, from my calf down into my toes, it feels like it's a water balloon. Like it feels like if you're a water balloon about to burst, that's what it feels like. Like every step I take is so tight that it feels like everything is just gonna pop. I can't bend anything but my front toe, which cracks super loud. The other toes are not moving. My feet are purple. My hands and wrists hurt so bad. Down my spine feels like I'm just getting stabbed by 1,000 needles every second of the day. I have chronic fatigue. I'm so tired. I walk to the kitchen and I literally am out of breath. I'm just done, but I'm not sleeping much. Like I've been waking up early and earlier every day. And what else has it done? Oh, my right shoulder was killing me for the first month. Now it's kind of eased up. My right hip was so bad in the ER. I broke it, but then they came back and said, oh no, we did a CT scan, you have osteoarthritis and bursitis, and I've never had a hip pain in my life. So it's just crazy. And a lot of people some people have, healed 40, 50%, 60%. Some people are just in wheelchairs, and some people continuously get worse over time, which is what happened to me, except for the wrist. So I know that ahead there's going to be more and more challenges. I've been getting ear pain that it's been coming and going, jaw pain, which is what a lot of people come. I see floaters now, like there's always floaters. Yeah, just everything has gotten worse. So my head's pounding all day. But anyway, enough of that. What I need your help for. I hate asking. What I need your help for, though, is last few days I've done tons of research online. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I did tons of research online, and I I've talked to a couple people. There's a couple doctors in America who do stem cell therapy, that do something called PRP, and there's another one called prolotherapy. Um, all are very expensive. All have risks. One lady I talked to today actually said she went to Mexico because there's only the FDA doesn't allow it in America. America has very low standards of people. It's hard to explain, but most of the good ones are overseas. But there are some doctors here that are seeing floxy people now, but it's brand new. Like it is, like there's been only probably 100 or less people that have actually done this process. But my case is really, really bad. And there's thousands though that have done the prolotherapy and the PRP, and there's actually a place in Oak Brook that does that and the stem cell therapy. They haven't. I called them today, and you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm also in talks with a couple doctors in Minnesota. I talked to a lady today for an hour and a half. She was amazing. She told me she was actually kind of worse than me. Definitely worse than me. She was like the worst case I've ever seen, and just her bravery to talk to me on the phone. She had stem cell, and she took cipro like 18 times and Lavaquin in 2015, and everything went downhill where she could see they could feel her spine through her stomach, I guess she told me, and I'm not going to name any names, but and she had stem cell, and she said for months it was horrible. Like she felt worse, like she was going to die almost. But now she's walking again. She said she even was dancing around her living room the other day, and she said since May she's been doing so much better. And there's a couple people that I've talked to that have seen couple doctors in California, and the people I talked to, the other main company I talked to today is in where the hell is it? Not Dominican Republic. I don't know. It's overseas though. It's not Dominican Republic because that's not overseas, but it's it's Colombia. It's in Colombia, and the difference is in America and the ones I'm looking at, they take your own cells and then spin it and reintroduce it to your body. The one in Colombia uses cells from babies' embryos, or whatever. I have all the information written down. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going, but they explained it. It spent like an hour and a half with them on the phone, and it's like the healing part of the spinal cord that they get from babies in Colombia, and they insert it. Now that one, these cells from a baby reproduce, they said, every 24 hours instead of 48 hours, and it will heal me faster. But it's scary because they say they test for, diseases and all that stuff. But another lady I talked to had it done in Mexico, and she said she was so horrible after that. She lost her hearing and vision and stuff. And so I'm probably not, I don't know. And I'm talking to a nutritionist, chiropractor, / who wants to run like 93 lab tests on me that will go over everything on how to heal my body. But basically what this is it attaches to your DNA, your central nervous system, and it attacks the good cells. It's like a cancer. That's basically what it is. It attacks, but except it gets in your DNA, and there's no way to heal tendons. You know what I mean? There's no way to fight back with your DNA unless you do something major. And a lot of this is new. A lot of this, a lot of floxy people are just finally starting to get heard by doctors and committees, and it's all new. So what I'm asking you, I need two things for help. Number one, if you if you want to support me and help me get to this journey, anything that you could do would go a long way. This fucking sucks. I hate asking. And second thing would be, I'm just looking for a few people that would come to my house maybe 1 hour a day for maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week. And just 1 hour. Just make sure I get up, I, do my physical therapy. Maybe I'll pay you. I'm not going to pay for them, but maybe bring me groceries or, do dishes for me or something small just to help, because I live here, I can't move, and there's just a lot of stuff, and that would really help me. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to my story. I can't explain without people being here for me and with me where I would be. I don't know if I would be here, but I'm fighting every day for my son. The person closest to me, I thought, who I've known 15 years, has completely just left and been terrible and has tried to everything to make my life difficult with my son, with a lot of things that I'll explain soon, but I'm not gonna get into that now, and I don't even want to, whatever. It's not what this is about. So anyway, without the bowling event, the GoFundMe, the constant support of my friends from back at Mayo Clinic, from my Facebook friends to my family, and a couple people. I'm gonna leave with this. A couple people that I would have thought that I've known for a very long time, and just very few people haven't reached out to me or haven't done anything. And I saw at first, and it's hard, and like I said, the person that I thought would do the most has done nothing except telling me that I'm faking this. So, but yeah, I saw a meme one time that said, it was a chalkboard, and it had 9 times 1 equals 7, 9 times 2 equals 18, 9 times 3, 27, and so on, 9 times 4, 36, and all the way down. And everybody had commented, like, on the meme about, like, oh, it's, or the meme says, like, you got 20 answers right, but you got 1 wrong. And you focus on that 1, and it's hard not to sometimes because you want to correct that, but I want to focus on the 20 things that were right, the 20 people that were there, the 20 people that heard my story, that love me and care about me, and not focus on that negativity because it doesn't get me anywhere. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry this was so long. And never, ever, please, ever, ever, ever take that antibiotic, the fluoroquinolone antibiotics, okay? Thank you.